Welcome to a section where we will learn about subqueries. And the most basic explanation of a subquery is that is a query inside of another SQL statement. So for example, in a select statement, it can be used in the select list, the from, or the where part of the statement. And of course, we can use it not only in the select statements, but also in the insert, update, merge, delete. And also, a subquery is not limited only to the DML, but we can also use it when creating a table or a view. Important thing to remember that most of the subqueries are autonomous, which means if we cut it out of the query in which it is being used, it should function by itself. They can return one or more results over a span of one or more columns, and the subquery is not restricted to the main query table. So we could use any table in our subquery that is accessible for the user. So why would we use subqueries? There are multiple purposes. We can create a really complex queries to fetch desired data. We can create a table and automatically populate that table. So with the select, we can define all of the columns, its properties, and automatically add data to that newly created table. We can also move data from one source to another. So for example, with the insert statement, or update those desired tables with the update statement. We can also make those queries as dynamic views. So for example, use a subquery in the from clause of a select statement, and that subquery would be used as a separate table. So all of the columns from that subquery would be accessible as from another table. There are a lot of different types of subqueries, but most fall into a couple of major types. One of those is a single row, where we fetch only one row of data with a subquery. The multiple rows, where we return a set of data. Multiple column subqueries, as mentioned, we can use those, for example, in the from clause as a separate table. The correlated subqueries, where the main or the parent query is related to the subquery. And the scalar, where we return just one value from it. Of course, those types are interconnected, and one type of subquery can fall also in another type of a subquery. How the subqueries function, it will be very easy to explain through examples. So stick with me and see you in the next one.